Have you ever thought about moving somewhere but figured out it wasn't for you? Well, that is the goal of this video. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what awful smell does Cedar Rapids smell like, how Cedar Rapids is awful at naming things, 6 other facts some may hate about Cedar Rapids, and why people still live here like myself with all this said. First though, we need to work out if you have to be a conservative to live here. As you can see, Cedar Rapids voted moderately liberal in the 2020 presidential election. With all this said, let's get to some of the brutally honest facts about Cedar Rapids that you may not like. Fact number 1. Growing up, I was a starting point guard as a sophomore in high school. And even though I wasn't quite a man yet, I had been working my entire life for my high school basketball career, and it was a dream of mine growing up. It was very clear as I was a freshman that there was an opening that I was going to take if I worked hard enough to be the starting point guard, and I set my sights on just that. I got the starting point guard position, and it was fun with the seniors taking me in, and I grew very close with most of them, but there was this one senior teammate who one day would act like my best friend, and the next day he would ignore me altogether. It was quite confusing, and from that day forward, it was like that with him. I grew tired of this, and I have met a handful of people like this as an adult, and it is hard for me to grow close to these types of people. I promise if I'm your real estate agent, I won't be this type of person to you. In fact, I would be the opposite, like these reviews show. Reach out if you need any help whatsoever. Anyways, that brings me to Cedar Rapids fact, that is the weather. Cedar Rapids weather is like that teammate of mine in high school who one day is your best friend and the next day is the opposite. You should expect the weather here to be very unpredictable. We have thunderstorms, hail, perfect weather days, cold winters, humid summers, windy days, inland hurricanes, also called derechos, tornadoes, and huge temperature changes. Expect the unexpected when it comes to Cedar Rapids weather. The last 2, I would say, catastrophic weather events in Cedar Rapids was the flood of '08, where over 7,000 parcels were affected, including 5,390 homes, 310 city facilities, and over $5.4 billion was estimated in total losses. Then you have the derecho that happened August 10th, 2020, that produced hurricane-like winds of over 100 miles per hour in the worst parts of the storm for over 45 minutes straight in Cedar Rapids. Many homes were severely damaged or lost during the storm, with 4 fatalities and an estimated over $110 billion in total damages. The most expensive thunderstorm in history. Fact number 2. I want to compare this to Chicago, or also known as the Windy City. Did you know that Chicago isn't even ranked in the top 10 wind speed areas in America, yet it is called the Windy City? Well, Cedar Rapids is known for smelling like rotten crunch berries, believe it or not. Yes, that cereal brand that is crunch berries. The smell comes from the Quaker Oats plant, ADM plants, or any of the other corn plants that make cereal, oatmeal, breakfast bars, and other products. And most days, honestly, you don't smell it, but there are those days where you can smell it and it's not pleasant. But just like Chicago, where most days it isn't the windiest cities, there are days in the winter where it is bitter cold, windy, and you remember that. The Windy City fits for that particular day, but it is embellished, just like the smell of Cedar Rapids. I have lived here and grew up close. I could tell you from experience, it has its days of that notorious smell, but it comes and goes. Most days it isn't an issue, in all honesty. Shout out to all the people I know who work at these places, but get your workplace odor in order. Fact number 3. Around the United States, there are silly or dumb town names of Dullsville, Oregon, that hopefully isn't as dull as its name. Chicken, Alaska, where there must be lots of chickens, but that is a guess. Boring, Oregon. The name says it all. What is it with Oregon in naming their towns? You have Why, Arizona, where they just question everything, I guess. Might be a good place for any conspiracy theorists. And Intercourse, Pennsylvania, that I won't comment on any further. Well, in Cedar Rapids, we followed suit, but it wasn't a town name. It was a name of a mount. It is the city landfill, and we call it Mount Trashmore, believe it or not. It is not the thing I am most proud about living here in the Cedar Rapids Metro, but at least it makes some sense for the name. Fact number 4. Have you ever heard the saying, nothing is guaranteed in life except death and taxes? This saying is so true. Just like Cedar Rapids, the guarantee is that the roads will be rough in areas and under construction in the warmer months. This fact of rough roads and road construction goes hand in hand with the fact number 1 of weather. We have humid weather, cold winters, and drastic temperature changes throughout the year. The roads take a hit due to this, and there isn't anything you can do about it, as it is a guarantee in Iowa. The concrete only lasts so long in Iowa with all the weather factors, so expect some rough roads and construction to navigate around in the warmer months in the Cedar Rapids area. The plus to this is that traffic in Cedar Rapids is incredible if you compare it to most other cities. We went to the state fair this last weekend, and it was really noticeable that Des Moines in areas has even worse roads than Cedar Rapids. And I got to say, Cedar Rapids does the best it can with the roads. Fact number 5. For years and years, I wore Nike, Adidas, Reebok, Jordans, or some type of name brand shoe for everyday shoes or for sports. My all-time favorite was my McGrady's I wore playing basketball back in the day. After high school was over, I started working out and running more than playing sports. For running shoes, I tried all the name brands such as Nike, Brooks, Asics, Saucony's, etc., etc. The one day I bought a pair of Skechers shoes for work when I was working at the Anamosa State Penitentiary as a correctional officer, and my feet were in love. It took years for me to also think about Skechers for running, but once I did, man, that made a world of difference for my feet. Now, you rarely ever see me wearing any other brand, as it is the right shoe for my feet. At least that is what I believe to be true. And no, I don't have Skechers as the sponsor. So what does this have to do with Cedar Rapids? For years and years and years, we have heard that Cedar Rapids wants to get a casino. Well, it looks like it's going to happen, but just like my shoe selection, hopefully we as Cedar Rapians can explain to the overlords that we don't have any sports complexes that are worth a darn. And we are the second largest city in all of Iowa. The crazy thing is we have the perfect place where the casino is most likely to be built at, in the downtown area, just west of the river. Not only would a sports complex be perfect for kids, but it'd also be a great place for local businesses, since the other cities in the state and Midwest could come here and the businesses would be booming during the summer months. Right now, the city has sports complexes on the outskirts of Cedar Rapids, and not many travel all the way into downtown Cedar Rapids to get food, or even stay overnight for that matter, after the sports games, as they are too far away from food options. Hopefully, like my shoe selection, the city authorities in the casino project, hopefully they can reconsider a better option like a sports complex that multiple groups of people and businesses would benefit from. Leave in the comments your thoughts on this. Fact number 6, Iowa City has the University of Iowa athletics that many people cling to, and is something a lot of Iowans attend, especially the Iowa women's basketball the last few years with Caitlin Clark, and also the Iowa football team. Des Moines has the Iowa State Fair in the summer. That is a popular thing to do in Iowa, not just for Iowans, but for many people from all over the world come to this fair, as it is special. Des Moines also has the Capitol Building, Blank Park Zoo, Iowa State University Athletics, Drake University Athletics. Dubuque has the Mississippi River, Davenport has the Mississippi River, Waterloo has the University of Northern Iowa Athletics, and many see Cedar Rapids as lacking anything to do. It is true that Cedar Rapids has none of those things, but just like that friend's house that the parents don't have the best video game system, have a pool, or have the amenities that maybe your other friends have, you can still have a fun time. This is one complaint people do have about Cedar Rapids, though, is many travel outside the town for something to do. I believe a state-of-the-art sports complex would be a step in the right direction, but I digress on that. Fact number 7. Out west, you have the potential for wildfires. Along the fault lines, you have potential for earthquakes. In the mountains, you have potential for squaring up with animals that can kill you. Along the parts of the ocean, you have the potential for deadly hurricanes. In the north, you have extreme cold temperatures. In the south, you can get extreme heat. While in Cedar Rapids, we have a river that can flood and has, and it's the Cedar River. Just like all the issues in the other states we brought up, you have to learn to deal with it and plan ahead for the event it does happen. There have been many measures done since the flood of 2008 to help prevent another catastrophic flood. But part of living in Cedar Rapids and the risk is that the Cedar River can and will flood again. It is a well-known potential, just like all the other potential risks of living in Iowa. Sometimes I hate making these videos because it feels awful to rag on the city I call home of Cedar Rapids. But in all honesty, it is a great place to live. In fact, all the buyers that we have had the honor of representing as their realtor moving from out of state love it here for so many reasons. And yes, they can overlook the name Mount Trashmore. Whether it is amazing people enjoying one of the 90+ parks, living in the city that isn't hardcore political in either direction, has some of the best homesteading options in the world, and on and on. Now, if you want to see one of the best neighborhoods in one of the best Cedar Rapids suburbs of Robbins, Iowa, then you must watch this video right here, where I show you around one of the best neighborhoods in all of the Cedar Rapids metro.